Today, grade 11 class. Today, we are going to work on a parabolic graph which belongs to the quadratic function. There are certain examples that we are going to work on, but firstly, let's try to understand what is a quadratic function. More importantly, you must go through this formula to understand an algebraic or a quadratic function. Ax squared plus bx plus c. Mind you, most of you may have come across this formula. Now, what I'm going to teach you about is more important to understand that wherever you see f of x or h of x or g of x, this is the same as y. Now, if you are given an expression like f of x, which equals to x squared minus 4, what does this expression mean to you? What does this expression mean to you? Concerning the first formula, concerning the first quadratic formula, this tells you that you have to find the value of a, the value of b, and the value of c. Right? Now, when we are looking at this formula, we can find the value of a by saying when we see x squared and then there is an invisible one here. So I must just erase one, but there is an invisible one here. Right? Now, our formula doesn't have a middle term, only the first term and then constant. Right? If we have only a constant at the first term, which means our value of c is always the y-intercept, if you remember from your grade 10. So which means the value of c is negative 4. Now, what is the value of b? We do not have the middle term, which means our value of b is equal to 0. I think you all understand this information. This information is going to help you on how to work out your turning point. When you are working out your turning point, you will come across, let's say this is your turning point when you have been asked to work on it. The first thing that you are going to work on a turning point is what we call the axis of symmetry. The axis of symmetry. Now, on your axis of symmetry, you will come across a formula that is called x, which equals to minus b over 2a. Then you will be required to use the value of a and the value of b. Now, if I am looking on my value of a, I have 1, and my value of b, I have 0. This is x, which equals to minus into 0 divided by 2 into 1. Then my value of x on my turning point is exactly going to be 0 because there is nothing to divide, since we did not have the middle term. Right. Another value of the turning point. Mind you, turning point has 2 coordinates. Turning point has 2 coordinates. Now, on your turning point, you are considered to find the value of x and also to find the value of y. So now, and always make sure that you write them in brackets. Make sure that you write them in brackets. Now, you write your value of x in brackets as 0. Now, how are you going to get the value of y? You are going to get the value of y by substitute x, which equals to 0, into the original formula. Now, what was your original formula? You came across f of x, which equals to x squared minus 4. Right? When you are going to substitute the value of x into this formula, you will start by writing f of x, which equals to x squared minus 4. Now, you are going to say f at 0 because you are substituting what? 0. Then it's going to be 0. When you see x, you put 0, it seems that we are removing the x value, we are removing the x variable by, or the x base by 0. Then we square, we minus 4. Now, since 0 squared is going to give us 0, then this is exactly where we find the value of 4 being the value of the y coordinate of the turning point. Now, another way you may call the turning point, this is the tree mark. This is the stationary point. This is where your graph changes direction. This is where you find a path. Then you write minus 4. Now, since we find the value of c as negative 4, and we know that negative 4 will always be the y-intercept. Why? Since they said that the value of c on a parabolic graph is always the y-intercept. Now, we have to find the x-intercept of this graph. So, for x-intercept, we are going to remember f of x, I said it is the value of y. Now, we are going to let our y become 0. So, 0 is equal to x squared minus 4. Remember, we taught you mostly about factorizing, simplification, and also solving for x. Now, here, you can factorize this algebraic expression and find the values of x. This is what you are going to do. Then, you see that, okay, you have x squared minus 4. There are the values, the vectors that can make 4. When we are looking at 4 and the first vectors, 4 and 1, when you multiply 4 by 1, it will exactly give you 4. But we do not have the middle term, which means the vectors that are needed for 4 is exactly the same values that have different signs, which is negative 2 and positive 2. Right? We are going to say x plus 2 and x minus 2. Now, since we have proven, and we can still prove that this takes us back to the value, since this takes us back to the value of minus 4, then we can say x plus 2 is equal to 0, or x minus 2 is equal to 0. Then our first value of the x-intercept is negative 2, or the second value is going to be x, which equals to positive 2. Mind you, you start by the smallest one, from left to right. Even when you are going to plot your graph, you will start with the negative value up to the positive value. Right? We continue. Since it might be written on your graph, if you were given a graph before, that a is negative 2 and 0, which is the first value of the x-intercept, or b, which is the second value of the x-intercept. Now, on the next lesson, I'm going to show you how to plot the graph of the parabolic function using the algebraic expression that was given to us, of which it forms part of the quadratic graph, which is ax squared plus bx plus c. I thank you. See you on the next lesson.